Hello everybody, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the goat blade in your BaZi. I've already talked about the goat blade as uh, a date selection. They are different, but this is the one in your BaZi chart if you have it. Now, all of the sites do say that this is a complicated star. The interpretation is quite complicated. You can easily tell whether or not you have it, but what it means to you is where the complication comes in, because it really requires you to look at the entire chart, and it really requires a seasoned practitioner to interpret correctly. And I'm not even a practitioner, let alone a seasoned practitioner. So I'm just going to basically give you the general overview. And if you have it and you think it's a problem, then you need to contact somebody who really knows what's going on, which is not me. I can't do this. So here is the rule. We have the yang wood, yin wood, normal order, yang fire, yang earth, yang metal, yang water, yin water. And this is the rabbit, the tiger, the horse, the snake. Again, the horse and the snake, the rooster, the monkey, the rat, and the pig. And I do believe this is different than what it is for the date selection. A little, not majorly different, but different. And it isn't the same chart, yes, as the date selection formation, but the Japanese websites list the goat blade for BaZi identical to the goat blade for date selection. So that, again, threw me off a little bit, and I did wonder. But as the Chinese created BaZi, I am trusting the Chinese websites. And I think that's a valid thing, because you can use it for two different ways. And when I looked at the goat blade for date selection, I used the Chinese language websites. But this must be where the Japanese got mixed up. So that's just the way it is. And maybe they did their own thing and decided it's more valid. I really don't know. I don't read any Japanese at all. And when you translate it, lots of times some of the meaning is lost when you translate to English, which is why I prefer Chinese websites. Well, first off, I have a husband who can read Chinese, but also I can read enough that I can get the tables right and all that kind of stuff, because I do have more than a tiny bit of Chinese ability to read, and even here also, or at least Cantonese. Now, it basically, the goat blade star, which is also called the sheep, because the goat and the sheep are the same Chinese character. Sometimes they refer to a yang blade, but a yang blade is actually something different, and it is a different Chinese character. So, but anyway, it creates courage, fierceness, toughness, and the desire to prove oneself to others. But when it gets negative, it can lead to violence and harm, and that could be harming others or harming yourself. So it does have, it's a two-sided star, and you want to stay on the positive side if you can. In general, it is beneficial to people with weak day masters because it makes them less weak. It makes them more able to stand up for themselves, which is often a problem for people with a weak day master. Now, for strong day master, it is possible to bring out more of the negative side under some conditions, and this is where you need to have a practitioner, a real seasoned practitioner, look at your BaZi chart, because it's the other conditions in your BaZi chart which will tell you whether or not you have a tendency towards the negative side. Of course, you probably already know that, because this is I only have adults watching my page. I don't allow children to watch anything on my channel. So this, you probably already know which one, if you have it, does it have times when it gets harmful? And I don't know that it will, but you probably already know. So But if this is your kid who has it, then this might be something that you can use to help guide them towards the positive side. Now, the negative side usually includes poor personal relationships. That is, the marriage is usually not very good if they get married, and also they can overpower others, or they can hurt themselves and or hurt others. And this it can, you know, if they get angry enough, yes, it can lead to accidentally even hurting somebody to the point where they die. So this is a real scary one. It is really, really scary. But I don't know anybody, at least not that I know of, that actually has this star. I believe that's the case. Now, these statements are generalities, that it's beneficial for the weekday master and less beneficial for a strong day master. Again, the entire chart needs to be analyzed to understand the goat blade's impact. And yes, if you hear thunder in the background, it is thundering right now. But I hope it doesn't interrupt you being able to hear me. Now, in general, for a strong day master, if the goat blade star is clashed, that is the branch has a clash animal in the chart, or is part of a harm or a punishment, its negative effects is reduced. So this is one of the things that the practitioners, the seasoned practitioners will look at to see whether or not this is going to be terribly negative. So in this case, a clash is good. And it keeps a person with the goat blade star from being overly aggressive. Now, this goat blade star can be helpful in some careers. It's really good for somebody in the military or civilian roles that also are military-like a police officer. That is, they have to obey the rules and they get into dangerous situations, all that kind of stuff. And I suppose firefighters and other people like this also are included. But it can also be helpful for surgeons and athletes. Now, athletes, this gives them the toughness to keep getting better and better. That is, they feel the need to improve their physical stamina and everything so that they can do better and better. So that does help that. And for surgeons, it's the idea that if something goes wrong in an operation, they can react quickly enough so that they don't mess up, that they actually have studied well enough and have already thought about situations and they're ready to tackle almost anything that comes up. So this is why it's good for a surgeon, is that they can be very quick thinking because they're very careful about all this. They're very focused on doing well. Now, a person with a weekday master can benefit this because it gives them more self-confidence and usually helps them achieve their goals better than if they didn't have it. So this is one reason why it gives them a little more toughness, because most weekday masters are pretty relaxed about basically achieving goals. They like to, but they're not going to go crazy about it. That's an average weekday master. Now, two goat blade stars in a natal chart is quite negative and often leads to physical harm. And that could be of yourself or others. And so that is a pretty negative thing. And there are people out there with two goat blade stars. There may, theoretically, it may be even possible that they have more than two. And this is especially true for strong day masters. But even for a weekday master, in general, this is not good to have two goat blade stars. Now, the goat blade's completion branch, when it is with the 7K, that is, you look at the heaven stem of the completion branch, and so this is the 10 God that would be there. It is transformed to a more effective star that isn't negative, more on the positive side, especially for those with strong daymasters, which in general is a little more dangerous. So this is good, and it is a little bit strange, but that's what it says, because the 7K makes you even more of a fighter. So, so when we look at this, I mean, I wasn't sure, again, whether or not they were talking about hidden stems or heaven stems, but when you look at the day stems, I mean, the day stems and the branches that complete it, none of this has 7K. So obviously they have to be talking about the heaven stem. So this is yet more when they say what is with it. That is when it says in Chinese, when the branch is with a certain stem, they seem to always mean the heaven stem. So basically, it can only happen in the heaven stem because the 7K does not appear here. So so again, the 7K, that element, if you, most of the BaZi calculators out there will tell you what your heaven stems relationship is to your daymaster, but it is the element that controls your daymaster with the same polarity as your daymaster. So that if you don't have it, that's how it works. And so this means that the fire, if your day stem is yang fire and you have a water horse, you have this. If your day stem, that is your day master, is yin fire, you can have a water snake and also have this. Now, of course, now we're changing to a different element in the day master, so this won't be water. It will change. It'll change to wood. So for a yang earth day master, a wood horse is here. And actually, this is my husband. Actually, he does have this star. I was incorrect. Yes, I do know someone that has this, but I would say it does work. This does make him a better person. He is not pushy and nasty or anything like this, and he has this as his day master, and he has this in his year. So he's quite good. I mean, I'm the one who controls the household more than he does. I'm more insistent than he is. So I do think this is true. So for a yin earth daymaster, a wood snake will have this. And for a yang water daymaster, it's the earth rat that will have the 7K. And for a yin water daymaster, the earth pig will do this. Now, this means that if your daymaster is either wood or either metal, you can't have this because the stem has a different polarity, and so the heaven stem of the completion branch won't have the same polarity. So instead of 7K, it will be DO. But that doesn't seem to apply. So and my husband is a strong day master, but he is not domineering. He is he's a lot more flexible than you might otherwise think. Now there are no harms, punishments, or clashes in his chart. So the only thing he has is this 7K. So this does seem to work. It seems a little weird that it works, but it does. Now, there is an interesting Korean website where the people there, or maybe they're quoting somebody else's research. Again, when you change from different languages to English, sometimes it's a little confusing, and I don't read a word of Korean. But the presence or absence of the goat blade in a person's charts, and look at the success rate in several fields. So this was quite interesting. They actually really did some research here, which I've always been looking for. Now they found people with the goat blade were more successful in passing the Special Forces final physical exams. So this has to do with athletics. So there's some tests that they have to do to be able to become Special Forces. And I'm assuming this is Special Forces in Korea, although that is not clearly stated. But they are also better at choosing high-risk investments, and they perform better as surgeons in highly time-sensitive operations. And there's a couple other things that they have a little bit more benefit to have the goat blade, but these were the ones that were on the top, the ones with the strongest response. Now, I can't attest to the quality of the statistical results because no raw data is given. I mean, usually I like to see raw data because I know how to analyze data. So, or at least I can check what they've done. There was no reference for the data. So I just have to take them at their word. Now, fortunately, since I can't read any Korean, they use the Chinese characters for the BaZi properties, which I can read. And the English translation of of when they're trying to translate a Chinese character from a Korean web page is total garbage. I mean, unless you can read the Chinese, you can't figure anything out. And so, but fortunately, I can. Now, this website is given here. I will try to remember to put this in the in the information below. But this is the website that talks about this whole thing. And the Korean website uses the same goat blade as the Chinese does, the same table. So they don't have the confusion that the Japanese websites seem to have. So that's it. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'd like to hear from you if you have this, and does this make sense to you in your chart? And do you have the 7K, or is it clashed? And actually sometimes it's a little hard to see yourself, so you might want to ask somebody else what they think, somebody close to you, if they think the interpretation is accurate. So thanks again for watching.